from your pretest.
Like, for example, do we have to do the test?
Yeah, you're gonna write the test on Wednesday, Eli.
Oh, Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday.
It was supposed to be, but it's now gonna be on Wednesday. It'll just mean that you have one less day to review. All right. Okay, any questions today that you want to work on? You have any, Emma?
No. I do.
Okay, ask away.
It's number 7 to solve the quadratic formula. I don't understand the quadratic form and how they get their fractions so low, and they just get a fraction.
Let me show you. Okay, so the equation is 9w squared plus 6w plus 1. Now, I'm going to show you something right away here, and then I'll answer the question the way it's supposed to be answered. Because if I ask you to show this one actually just says, yeah, using the quadratic formula. So I wouldn't do this because I'm actually specifically asking you to show the quadratic formula. But just a quick look at it is I could do this. All right, it's factorable. 3w times 3w is 9w squared. 3w and 3w makes 6w. So therefore, I have 3w plus 1. That means I only have one root, and my root is equal to -1 over 3. So, but because I specifically asked you on the test to do the quadratic equation, I can't do it this way. But I want you to see that there is a fraction as part of my answer. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to it now. A is 9, B is 6, C is 1. My roots equal -6 plus minus 6 squared minus 4 times 9 times 1 all over 2 times 9. So far, so good. -6 plus minus square root. 6 squared is 36. Minus 36 is 0 over 18. That gives me -6 over 18, which is -1/3. So I have one root. Now remember, when the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac equals 0, that means I only have one root. In this case, my root is -1/3, which means then that the vertex of this line would be on the x-axis. But you have to be able to use this equation and solve this equation and take it down into fraction form. Okay. Any questions about that?
Can you do number 9 on the multiple choice?
Yep. All right. Now, the key to number 9 is you have to have that. You have to have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. You have to get it all on one side and equal to the 0. In that equation,
I don't think you're doing the right one.
Well, is that question 8? Yeah. Did you ask?
No,
Sorry,
9.
you wanted 8 or 9?
She said 9.
Okay, my bad. Let me skip over. Okay. Mine's a mess here. Okay. All right, 9 and 10 are exactly the same question. So here's what happens. I have 2 circles. To the outside edge, it measures 8. I don't know what the inside radius is. It's X. Now, it says in the question that this seated area, where they want to seat, so that shaded area has to have the exact same area as the middle circle, which is where the planter is. So it has to have the same area as this. So to get the area that you're going to sit on, you need to take the area of the outside circle minus the area of the inside circle, and that will give me my shaded region. Okay, so the area of the outside minus the area of the inside has to give me my shaded region. And that shaded region, according to this question, has to be equal to the area of the inside. Because it says that the company suggests that the area of the soil in the planter be about equal to the area of the rim. So my shaded has to equal my inside. So the area of the outside is pi times 8 squared. Subtract the area of the inside, pi times x squared, and that has to equal the area of the inside, which is still pi x squared. So now what I want to do is I want to get the x's to the same side. So I'm going to add pi x squared to the other side. So on this side, I have 64 pi. That's 8 squared times pi. On this side, I have 2 pi x squared. Now I need to solve for x. And so what x is the radius of the inner circle. So that's what I want to find. I need to find x first to solve this question. So I'm going to divide this side by 2 pi, and I'm going to divide this side by 2 pi. X squared equals 32. Take the square root of 32. So I get 5.657. So that is the radius for the small circle, for the inside. So to get the length or the width for the rim, I take my 8 centimeters and I subtract that value. So the width of the rim is 2.343 meters. There's the answer to your question. These questions, I guarantee you're going to see. The most important thing you can focus on is writing it out in words to start with so that it makes sense for yourself. And then the second most important thing is to draw the diagram so that you get a visual as to how it needs to look. So I ask myself every time, area of the outside minus the area of the inside equals what? Well, that equals the shaded area. Well, what does the shaded area equal? It's the same as the amount of soil in the planter, the area of that. And then I can solve it from there. Question 10 is the exact same question.
On the RFP, it says it's so it's 5.7.
If the outer radius of the planter is 8, what is the radius of the soil? There's the radius of the soil right there, 5.67. 657, I mean. That's the radius. I thought they asked you for the rim. They did not. They asked you for that. So there's your answer. 5.7. Okay? Emma, are you good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have other questions?
Number 10 in the short answer.
Okay, now we've done 3 questions like this, I believe. So in these questions, I have suggested that you draw this out to get a better visual of it. All right, she's diving from a diving board at 6 meter platform. So this is 6 meters. That means that at 0 seconds, I'm at 6 meters high. She jumps off the diving board. It takes her 0.2 seconds to get to 6.15 meters. So now I have a vertex. I have a y-intercept. How long does it take for her? I need to find this value down here. Okay? So the first thing that you want to do is find an equation for this. I have the vertex, so I plug it in. So now I need to find an A value. To find my A value, I'm going to use my y-intercept. And I'm going to solve this.
Which question is this?
Number 10 on the short answer. Okay, now I solve for A. So I have an equation now. Now that I have an equation, I would more than likely graph it to find out what my zero is. I mean, you could solve it, but graphing it would be the fastest way to do that.
Mr. Newton, Georgia's Wi-Fi cut out and she said that she'll join back when it reconnects.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Very cool.
Girl, Mila.
Okay, so there's my graph. And I find my zero down here. Not lock it in yet. There it is. So it's going to take 1.48 seconds for the diver to hit the water. Okay? Good?
Can you do number 6 on the short answer?
6 on the short answer? Yeah. Okay. So I have minus 17p minus 11. Plus 2p squared equals minus 2p squared plus 9p add 3. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do, I need to get it equal to 0. So I'm going to add 2p squared to both sides. I'm going to subtract 9p, and I'm going to subtract 3. So that's going to give me 4p squared minus 26p, minus 17, subtract 9, and minus 14, which is equal to 0. Now, because I'm solving, I'm going to divide everything by 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to do quick math here. I only have 2 options for 2p squared. It's 2p and p. And I need to get to a 14, so I'm going to put a 7 there and a 1 here. Those are my only 2 options. And I need a negative 14. So, again, this is a higher level. This is harder to do. Some of you may have to do this. Product, negative 14, sum, negative 13, factors, negative 14 and 1, and gone through the whole process, which is fine. So I get 2p plus 1 equals 0, p minus 7 equals 0, p equals negative 1 over 2, p equals 7. There's your answer. Questions?
Do you want to just leave it there? I need to write that down.
Sure.
Why is it a 13 from the, where you got the greatest common factor, and then the 14 from the first one, not the 7?
Okay, so I divided, so right here I divided 2 out, right?
Yeah.
So that leaves me at 2p squared minus 13p minus 7, which equals 0. You get that or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so that part you're okay with?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know why the 13 and then the 14 were like not the 7 with the 13. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Outside.
Negative x times 2.
outsides are 2p times -7. Inside is 1 times p. So that gives me a -14p plus. Okay, let me do this differently.
Can you do it the longer way?
Yep. All right, so I've got 2p squared minus 14p plus 1p minus 7 equals 0. Bracket, 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 bracket. Take out a 2p, p minus 7. Take out a 1, p minus 7. P minus 7, 2p plus 1 equals 0. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question more on the exam side of this.
Sure, go ahead.
Do we still have like the option for the exam to drop our lowest test mark?
Well, that's not really for your exam. It's for your term mark, but yeah,
Okay.
you don't really have the option. I'm doing it whether you like it or not.
Okay, sounds good.
It might
And did you put our assignments in Power School?
Not yet. I am halfway done marking them. I'm thinking if I get off here in the next little bit, I'll have them done by the end of the day today.
Okay, because yeah, I seen that you like posted them back, and I thought maybe I just got low, so you didn't put it in.
No, I didn't get a chance to mark them. I was away Friday.
Okay. Do you think like for tomorrow, you can have like, if there's any like more questions we could do for practice?
You can take one of the textbooks and go through it. There's review in there. So yeah. Any other questions today?
For number 9 on the short answer,
Yeah.
using the quadratic form, I don't know how they got their fraction.
Using the quadratic formula?
Or if there was another way to do it. Yeah, because it's non-factorable. I don't, or no. When I did it, like if they're all, it's factorable, but I'd get like y squared plus 4y equals 0. But I don't know how to do that after that. How to solve that with no constant.
Well, first of all, that's not factorable. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is where I'm at right now. Now, here's the thing. Again, I'm not being very picky about this as I would in most years because of where we're at. But I should really break down the square root of 12 into 2 square root 3 over 2. Square
So
root,
how does that?
square root of 12 is square root 4 times square root 3. Remember, you try and find a perfect square that goes into 12. So the square root of 4 is 2. So that gives me 2 square root 3. Then what I can do is I can divide this by 2, this by 2, and this by 2. So that gives me an exact value answer of this. Okay, now we aren't focused on this year because of the fact that we just are doing this through remote learning. But what they're saying with an exact answer is you don't find the decimal. You leave it as a square root. And on your assignment, you could have done this for one of your questions. You should have got -2 plus minus root 3. Or it was a bit different answer, but similar to it anyways.
But your answer, or it's not 12 over 2 though, it's 14 over 2. Not 12.
What are you talking about?
16 take away 4 times 1 times 1. That's 14, not 12.
How do you get 14 out of that?
Because 16 take away 4. Oh, never mind. The back of the book says, or the answer key says 14, and that's what I was looking at. Can I run?
Okay.
Because they still have it as fractions. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
This one wouldn't end up being a fraction.
Would it be right if we like solve that and just put like x equals whatever the answer is, just in decimals?
No. Because it asks you in the question for exact answer. Now, I'm not going to ask you for that because we haven't focused on it. But if it's asked for an exact answer, you cannot give a decimal as an answer. You would have to leave it right here. That's where you'd have to leave it. And that would be your final answer. Okay, you don't change it to a decimal if it asks you for an exact value. Because a decimal is a rounded value, it's not exact. All right. Any other questions?
Can you do number 8 for the short answer?
Well, I think I started that one, didn't I? Yeah, right here. Okay,
No, that's not it.
that's not it.
For the short answer.
Oh, for the short answer?
X.
It's a cubic one. We don't need to do cubes. I'm not going to ask you for cubes for this. So,
For question 2, it asks you to like make a table of values.
yeah.
So where, how do you know what values to do? Why?
I couldn't understand that. Can you say that again, please?
If it asks you to make a table of values, like for number 2, short answer tells you to, what values do you use? Do you use one above and below the vertex, right?
I would go, if you're asked for a table of values, I would go 2 to the left and 2 to the right of the vertex.
2 to the left and 2 to the right.
Right. So I would.
So you have 5 values.
What I would have done, yeah, that's correct. What I would have done here is I would have, subtract that. I would have completed the square just to get it into vertex form. Oops. So and then I go -2, -3, and I go 0 and 1. So this would be 11, this would be 11. 2 squared is 4. This would be 14, and this would be 14. So that's what I would see for that.
Okay. So you found those y's by plugging in each one. You'd have to plug each one in for X and solve for Y
Yes, that's
every
right.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to.
Are we having a test for chapter 8, or are we just gonna like glance it and do start our exam prep?
We'll see how the week goes here. I don't have an answer to that just yet. I may just put it on your exam rather than do a test for it, but we'll see. I can't quite answer that. Sorry. Anything else today? Just checking the attendance. Okay. That's all I have. I will see you all in class tomorrow. Hopefully. Nothing else. Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.